Hi everyone, how are you? I, Professor Prashant Bua, Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, Junagadh. Welcome to you in Lecture 7 of Earthquake Resistance Building, subject Design of Reinforced Concrete Structure. So all of you touch with this lecture series. Again we have to conduct Lecture 6 regarding the same topic, earthquake resistance building. So today's we have the last session of theory part of the earthquake resistance building and very importance in real life structure also. So start with the Lecture 7 of earthquake resistance building. How to beam in RC building resist earthquakes. So in previous lecture some topic we have covered regarding the same concept of RCC buildings, how to improve in our rational method of RCC building regarding the bar bending schedule, how to improve the loop of our stirrup. Remaining topic will be discussed in these lectures. So start with the resisting earthquakes regarding the RC building. So we know that the steel reinforcement in beam. So generally we not worried about focus of beam in a hook, but it very much important while the earthquake occurs. So our stirrup prevent the longitudinal bar from the bendings outward. So our stirrup is mainly role play while the earthquake occurs. If stirrup is loose, then it should be create the effect during the earthquakes. So the vertical stirrup, smaller diameter steel bar that are made into the closer loop. Our monitoring of earthquake resistance while we check our steel is our stirrup is closer loop and are placed as a regular interval and long at the full length of the beam. So we have to provide throughout the beam and stirrup interval should be regularly throughout the beam. It's not likely unequal distance. So it should be create the effect, and loop is closed so that it not be open while the earthquake occurs. So same way longitudinal bar, the diameter of steel bar that go through the full length of the beam. We not allowed any connection between this length of beam. So generally we have to go the continuous steel providing throughout the beam itself. So it's minor thing create the resistance during the earthquake occurs. Now longitudinal bar are providing to resist the flexure cracking, that we all know that. On the side of the beam that should be stretched, since both the top and bottom face stretches during the strong earthquake. That should be also given the tips in IIT Bombay earthquake tips number 70. There are more focus on these tips regarding the earthquake. So longitudinal steel bar are required on the both faces at the end of the bottom and the face of midland. That will be seen in next figure. So the Indian Ductile Detailing Code is nothing but IS 13920 1993 prescribe some important point. What are the point? The first point is at least 2 bar go through the full length of the beam. So at least 2 bar we have to maintain in go through the full length at the top as well as the bottom of the beam, so that they have the strengthening overall our main steel of beam. What should be the second point? At the end of beam, amount of steel provided at bottom is at least the half of top. That is the very important point has code have suggest. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, स्टील का जो मेन पोर्शन है हमारा मेन स्टील बोलते हैं वो बॉटम में ही प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. ज्यादातर टॉप में हम प्रोवाइड नहीं कर सकते, नहीं करते हैं रूटीन मेथड में. तो हमको क्या करना है, एज पर द कोड इज सजेस्ट हमारा जो एंड ऑफ बीम का टोटल अमाउंट ऑफ स्टील प्रोवाइडेड इन बॉटम एटलीस्ट हाफ, जो हमने जो बॉटम में प्रोवाइड किया है उससे हाफ हमको टॉप में प्रोवाइड करना है टू get the extra strengthening during this reversible stress like earthquake. So you can see that figure, location and amount of longitudinal steel bar in beam. You can see that this one is bottom and still supported at least half that top bar. You can see that this is the continuous bar. At least 2 bars should be full length of beam. So this is the bar should be provided at top as well as bottom. Now this is the total amount of steel from calculation. So you have to calculate total amount of steel where you have to provide it in bottom. In half at least you should provide it at top, and again in that top at least 2 bars should be provided in full length of beam. So that's why it resists the tension due to flexure condition also. At that time top bar are very important to resist this reversible stress. Now stirrup in RCC beam help in their 3 waves, namely which are the 3 waves that stirrup should be important. So generally in our practice we not specially design about stirrup and do not more focus regarding the stirrup itself, but it's very important link to connect with main bar and overall strengthening of beam. So it's carry the vertical shear force and thereby resist the diagonal shear crack also, that will be seen in figure. They protect the concrete from buckling outwards due to the flexure. So they have connecting between main bar and concrete also. And third and most important, they prevent the buckling of compression longitudinal bar due to flexure, and therefore in the moderate to severe seismic zone the Indian standard IS 13920 prescribe that following requirement related to stirrup. So again code have suggest regarding the stirrup also that should be maintained. So the diameter of stirrup must be at least 6 mm. Below 6 mm we not allowed for the diameter of stirrup. In the beam more than 5 meter long, and it must be at least 8 mm. If we provide stirrup in beam, at that time the diameter play important role, and along with the length is also important role. So being more than 5 meter long, the stirrup we should provide it and must be at least 8 mm. So both the end of vertical stirrup should be prevented into 135-degree hook. That should be maintain very important role. The hook should be bent at least 135-degree. So the extended sufficiently beyond this hook to ensure the stirrup does not open in earthquake. What should be the reason behind providing the 135 angle? It's not be open while the earthquake occurs. If the angle we have to not maintain, our stirrup is easily open. तो earthquake आएगा तो stirrup हमारी खुल जाएगी, तो वो वहाँ से जो मेन स्टील का जो स्ट्रेंथनिंग है वो लूज हो जाएगा और मेन स्टील का डायरेक्टली अफेक्ट होगा फ्लेक्सर में. सो इट नॉट बी रेजिस्ट द earthquake force. Second criteria, the spacing of vertical stirrup in any portion of the beam should be determined from calculation. So we have to calculate the stirrup, minimum stirrup, and what should be the diameter and along with length. So the maximum spacing of stirrup is less than the half the depth of beam. What should be the maximum spacing? So it should be clearly stirrup less than the half the depth of beam. So it directly affect the depth of beam. And for the length of twist of the depth beam from the face of column, that should be provided from beam column connection. And even more, the stringent spacing of the stirrup is specified, namely half spacing mentioned in C. That will be C in figure 5. What should be the stirrup specified? You can see that first of all stirrup, figure 4, it's relate about the steel reinforcement in seismic bed. Hook should be provided 135-degree angle. You can see that figure. This is the perfect 135 hook adjust in a stirrup through alternate the high. You can see that closeness of stirrup. It not be open, not chance to open while we provide that 135-degree at any major earthquake. So it should be give the extra strengthening of stirrup. And you can see that horizontal spacing also. It should be equally throughout the beam. Somehow where nearer to the beam column joint, we have to horizontal spacing should be narrow, and that's why it should be get the extra strengthening. That also that code has suggest the same clause. Now steel reinforcement bar are available usually in a length of 12 to 14 meter. Thus it becomes necessary to overlap bar when the beam is longer are made. So we know that our steel reinforcement are available 12 to 14 meter itself. So more than 14 meter beam we compulsory get the overlap. So what should be the overlap? How to maintain that overlap? So in that particular code has suggested to prescribe the overlap criteria. Which are the overlap criteria? So made away from the face of column, we not allow the overlap with the face of column, not made the location where they are likely to stretch. We not allow the overlap when the beam it should be stretched. We know that it the midspan of beam. Moreover, the location of lap, vertical stirrup should be provided as closer spacing. So when we provide the overlap between this bar, overlap means two bar are adjoining with the length. It is nothing but the overlap. So this overlap should be provided the closer stirrup nearer the joint. जब हम स्टील का जॉइंट करते हैं वहां पे स्टीरअप हमको वर्टिकल स्टीरअप जो है वो क्लोजर स्पेसिंग पे प्रोवाइड करनी है, तो ओवरलैप की स्ट्रेंथ और बढ़ जाएगी. नाउ दिस इज द फिगर, यू कैन सी दैट spacing of stirrup as per the calculation but not more than d/2. So just first criteria we have to maintain, at spacing of stirrup as calculated but not more than d/4 8 times diameter of bar is near about 2d. You can see the spacing of spacing of stirrup is very closer near the beam column joint itself. So like same stirrup we have to provide it when the bar it should be overlapped. So this is the figure. Here you can see that we can provide or necessary the bar of connection. Suppose हमारा बीम है वो 14 मीटर से ज्यादा है और स्टील की जो लेंथ है मैक्सिमम 12 to 14 मीटर ही मिलती है, तो हमको कंपलसरी दो बार है वो कनेक्शन करना है. तो क्या पे नहीं करेंगे हम, जहाँ पे बीम स्ट्रेचिंग होता है वहां पे निगलेक्ट करेंगे और हमारा बीम कॉलम का फेस है वहां पे नहीं करेंगे. तो इन बिटवीन हम यहाँ पे फिगर पे देख सकते हैं दो बार को हमको स्टील बार को अटैच किया है, तो वहां पे भी हमारा जो स्पेसिंग ऑफ स्टीरअप है नॉट मोर देन 150 mm. 150 mm से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. इट मीन्स हमारा स्टीरअप है वो जितना हो सके उतना क्लोजर होना चाहिए लाइक आवर बीम कॉलम जॉइंट. सो इट शुड बी strengthening over the overlap between these two steel rod. So these are the code he suggests as IS 13920. So as far as the earthquake resistance design criteria is concerned and ductility criteria is concerned, this code is very useful to get the extra strengthening with minor changes in our routine design. Now very important points today we will cover about the shear wall. All of you know about the shear wall. You can, I think, heard about the word shear wall, but in detailing you don't know. What about the shear wall? What are the functioning to providing the shear wall? And what are the preferred seismic region that should be provided that shear wall? At any building you not provide the shear wall. So today we will also discuss about the very important point, shear wall. So what is the shear wall? First question in your mind should be raised. So a shear wall is a wall that should be designed to resist the shear. So specially that wall should be designed again resisting of which force? Shear force. So the wind force on a lateral force like causes of damage of building during the earthquake. So we know that lateral force should be causes the damage of building. Which are the lateral force are occurred? So one of the is wind force if you have to design the building near the seashore, and second one is what's important is earthquake. So to prevent this damage we should provide the shear wall. But how it should be designed, where it should be provided, what is the designing place of the shear wall, that are the very important points to keep in mind. Now RC building system. So three common lateral load resisting system in RC building that will be described in this figure. First one is moment resisting frame. You can see the top view of building. There are made of with frame structure with beam and column. The front view of building you can see that. Second one is shear wall. You can see that blue indicate the shear wall. This is the shear wall and that is the front view of building to providing the shear wall. So again the horizontal force is occur. This frame is move, again the direction of horizontal force and inertia force are opposite, so that our building is get the motion, and at the severe earthquake our column and beam should be fair. At that time if I provided shear wall, it resists the lateral force very easily. And third one is brace frame. So generally brace frame is not good practice in our site, so we generally avoid if the special case is not needed. So these two arrangement done on a field to resist the lateral force. So the shear wall is very important to register lateral force itself. Now shear wall in RCC building. So vertical plate like RC wall is nothing but one RC plate that should be provided throughout the foundation to slab. This figure should be provided to importance of shear wall, how it should be constructed. So it's not constructed up to second floor or anywhere between the floor. If you have to provide the shear wall, then your construction should be start up to the foundation of building. Then and then it should be strengthening throughout the length of building. So this is the very first and important key point to providing the shear wall. At anywhere it not should be start or it not should be stop at any floor. It should be continuous throughout the building. So the vertical plate like RC wall, and generally it start to the foundation, and that's why I highlight the word of foundation. Goes through the full building of throughout the height. Anywhere of building it not should be break. Now the principal attributes regarding the shear wall. So the large strength, high stiffness provided, and third and most important point is ductility. Now you can see that deformation versus straight graph. The normal RCC frame, it should be create a very strength point of view, and deformation you can say the stop. Now just in same building we should provide the shear wall. You can see the different of strength is carrying the more strength, and same aspect it carrying more ductile. You can see that deformation delta, it getting the more ductile compared to normal RCC beam, and that's why the delta should be more. So the building has more ductility, and the same aspect it should be a high stiffness, and you can still observe where it is carrying the high strength compared to normal RCC frame. So these are the very principal attribute to providing the shear wall, that are the main advantage to provide the RCC shear wall in a building. Now role of shear wall. So the smooth transfer of seismic force. Thus we all know that our main reason to providing the shear wall to resist the lateral load, but it's transfer very smoothly. So vertical oriented like wide beam. You can see that this is the force F, it should be F, and F should be a summation of F1, F2, F3 means different story. There should be force should be difference. So total F should be generated at the foundation. So like story wise we have to calculate the lump mass, and at the end of foundation we conclude final F is nothing but F1, F2 and F3. But you can see that our roof slab, and this is the earthquake generated force of floor level. There are the different floor level, and different force should be denoted over that, the different notation F1, F2, F3. So the cumulative this horizontal force from the above increase the downward. So this all the cumulative force should be increased in force F. At that time if we provide the shear wall, then it should be resist this total force, and hence there are no chance to failure of our frame like beam column. So it should be safe where the shear wall it should be provided. So our foundation is also safe, and this resisting due to this shear force. So it's very smoothly transferred to seismic force to our foundation. So generally our load transferring system is a beam to column and column to foundation. In between it should be a very key point to transferring the smooth force of seismic force. So it's very important to role of shear wall while we providing RC building. Now advantage and shear wall in RC building. So what are the advantage? So it's very good earthquake performance in properly designed. So I use the word if properly designed. So design is very much important to getting the good earthquake performance. We know that the shear wall should be provided which three property are increased. First one is stiffness, second one is strengthening, and third one is building is more ductile. But our design is should be properly done, then and then it should be create the effect. Otherwise it should be a negative effect while we providing the shear wall, and that's why it's not commonly used and every building to providing the shear wall, because we know that about the position of shear wall and how to calculate the load of shear wall and how it should be designed. That are the very important point. So in past earthquake, large number of RC frame buildings damaged and collapsed. So the shear wall of building performed very well. So that Perth earthquake have noticed that the shear wall is provided very effective wall. Now again you have to raise the question, before the earthquake is occurred 2001, no shear wall are generally used in a practice. So how can measure that it's performed very well? So shear wall is nothing but our lift portion. If any building we should provide the lift. So lift is one type of RC wall, so it's again one type of shear wall. So when the building is damaged throughout the total collapse of building, we have to notice that for the lift portion of building remains same. It means it gives the very well performance during the earthquake. So behind that lift criteria, the shear wall concept should be developed after the revision of this concept, and that's why it's noted that past earthquake shear wall of building performed very well. So according to that concept of lift, we should think in mind, if we provide the same concept in a different position of building, so maybe our building is resisting this earthquake force. So easy to construct because they are very simply RC building, easy to implement on site, effective in reducing construction cost, minimizing the earthquake damage, and most often the structural element, non-structural element like glass, window, building consent. So these are the non-structural element that should be affect first while the earthquake is occurred. So this all overcome should be providing the shear wall. So these are the lots of advantage. Also you can also see the lesser lateral displacement than frame. First one is shear wall and second one is moment resisting frame. You can see that elongation due to the stiffness and due to the rigidity of shear wall, it not should be a lateral displacement. You can see that very much small, while the normal frame structure there are the more lateral displacement, and then it should be effect on our building, because the large displacement it should be create more sacking force during this component, and you can see over that it should be a very small lateral displacement. So our structural element and non-structural element are safe against this displacement lateral is occur to providing the shear wall itself. Now architectural aspect, wall must be preferably in both the direction. So architectural point of view, it may be not proper position to providing the shear wall as per the aesthetic rule, but in plan symmetric we have to think about the architecture direction, so it should be provided in both the direction. To providing only one direction, a proper moment resisting frame must be provided in both direction. So if we provide it in one direction, so we not can maintain our proper moment resisting system throughout the plan, and that's why it should be provided in both directions. Suppose I should be provided in this way, y direction, so same y direction we have to providing again next shear wall. So that should be the providing in preferably direction, either should be x or either should be y. How it should be decided? So it should be decide our center of mass and center of stiffness of building. So for that we have to calculate the separate example for that. So you have to get the idea about the position of shear wall itself in plan. Second is architecture aspect is to provide only one direction, a proper moment of resisting frame must be provided in other direction. Suppose we have to provide the shear wall in one direction, so opposite direction we should provide proper frame structure to providing this moment resisting. सपोज हमको y में ही shear wall प्रोवाइड करनी है, तो x में हमको ऐसा बीम और कॉलम प्रोवाइड करना पड़ेगा जो प्रॉपर मोमेंट रेजिस्टेंस करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज shear wall have get the negative effect on frame also, and that's why the proper designing and place for shear force place to construct the shear wall is very important aspect. Now shear wall can extend over the full width of the building and on the overall partial width it's also. So there are the two way we should provide it. So as per the architecture aspect, I think the first one is very important, but it should be a very costly structure, and that's why the second alternate half width of RC will partially width we can also provide it. So there are the two way why we providing the full width shear wall, otherwise partially width shear wall. Now wall should be throughout the height, cannot be interpreted in lower. So discontinue of wall not desirable, you can see that effect. So we cannot provide it after the first floor or after the second floor of shear wall. It should be create the discontinuity of wall. So the best option, wall through out the beam, we can provide the RC wall, and then it gives the best resisting system while the earthquake occurs. Wall should not throughout the height, cannot be interrupt in upper level, so we cannot break in upper force also, like in first figure. Suppose foundation to 3-story, we should provide RCBs. After the 3-story, third floor, we discontinued wall. No, this is the wrong method. Discontinuous also occur while we stop the shear wall. So the best option, we should provide throughout the length of building, and then it should be create the effect. Same way, wall should be along the primer of building, so improves the resistance of twisting. So shear wall close to the center of building are less efficiency. We can provide the at the portion of mid of lift and periphery of lift wall, we should construct the RC wall. So it's one type of shear wall, but it not effective. So shear wall along the periphery are most effective. So where it should be provided, that you have to see in our these two figure. We have to provide that shear wall at periphery of our building, like X, Y of any direction of periphery. We should not provide to center of building. So there are the no provision to provide the center of building, and there are the no special resisting case when we provide it the center. So the best way we should provide, or more efficient, we should provide our shear wall as a periphery of building itself. Now opening in shear wall, it's a very important question. Can we provide the opening in shear wall? A few cases it should be a possible, a small possible, and a symmetric possible. So of course we can provide the opening in shear wall, but it's very important. Large and randomly place of opening not allowed. Suppose in first 2-story this opening and position of opening. So this is the irregularity of opening that should be not allowed in shear wall. If we provide the opening, we must be needed to provide the opening. So if you have to few, so in a case of this RCC wall, to try to get the few possible opening, if there needs not be covered, then your opening should be small and symmetric throughout the length. if ओपनिंग हमको प्रोवाइड ही करना ही है स्पेशल केस में, तब हमारा ओपनिंग है वो कम से कम होना चाहिए, और जो भी हम ओपनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं वो थ्रू आउट द वॉल इट शुड बी अ सिमेट्रिक, then and then there is the no effect on building, otherwise the wall should be discontinuous. और वहां पे जो स्टील आया है वो हमको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है अदर साइड पे, then that's why the opening is very key point while we providing the wall itself. Now seismic behavior. So under the desirable modes of the failure, you can see that overturning of failure. So the vertical uplift, totally our shear wall should be overturning. Second one is sliding, and third one is shear failure. So these three, all the three we should avoid, and likewise we should design a shear wall. So we note the effect of overturning, sliding, and the shear failure. So likewise we have to design our shear wall. Now what should be the seismic behavior while we provide the shear wall? So you can see that shear demand in a lower story. So we know that nearer to the foundation of our story, suppose our building is 10 to 12 story. So near first 2 to 3 story, nearer to the foundation, are very much shear demand are more, because they are likely connected with earthquake. So the earthquake generated force, you can see the floor wise. If you have to move foundation to top story, it should be lower compared to the ground story. So the cumulative of horizontal force above the increase downward, and that's why shear wall are very much key point, because they are to provide it throughout the building. So at any floor, at the different resisting force, that should be capable to resist this shear wall. Like you can see that in a first story, the 2 force should be occur, for example, and second story it should be nearly 4, and multiple force are in ground story. So you can see that cumulative of horizontal force above increase the downward. When you have to increase throughout the foundation, it should be increase the load, and that's why the shear wall has capable to this force, and that's why it getting the good seismic behavior while we providing in RCC frame structure. Now seismic design of RCC well, the region of the ductile detailing is very important. So except the ductile reinforcing region, we should not provide the RCC shear wall. So both the force should be resisting, either it should be tension or it should be a compression. So it not be failed to the composite force of tension and compression. That should be kept in your mind. Now possible geometry of wall. Now how should be design of RCC wall? What should be the shape? Suppose all around the elevator, then it should be the shape of hollow. In between you have to get the equilibrium or opening providing the wall, but it should be uniform throughout the length. Either you should provide the C shape, L shape, or you can say the rectangle shape. But as per the field is concerned, the best option is to provide the C shape to get the extra strengthening at corner itself also. That's why the C is best geometry to provide the RCC shear wall in a RC building. Now these are the primary reinforcement in wall. You can see that it's very closer reinforcement to provide this RC building throughout the length. The maximum spacing of vertical reinforcement not more than LW by 5, and the thickness of wall of 450 mm. The maximum spacing in horizontal reinforcement bar LW by 5. You can see that both the criteria should be vertical and horizontal are equal. So there are the very much closer reinforcement should be providing in wall. So the proper anchoring of vertical reinforcement to the foundation are very much key point. You can see that this is the proper anchoring of our main steel of this shear wall. That should be properly anchoring. Either it should be L or it should be overlapping between two L. So the anchoring is very important. Now detailing about the vertical and horizontal bar also, you can see that maximum spacing and the closely spacing of reinforcement are given, so that all close are given in the seismic code, but just I have to put the figure about the reinforcement, how it should be sourced. So that are the very much important of spacing also. So this all about the shear wall. I think you have to got the idea how we provide the shear wall, what is the significant effect of shear wall, what are the importance of shear wall, as well as what are the disadvantage of shear force. So this all about the lecture 7. Thank you student. If you have any query regarding this today's lecture, please write in comment box, so I will get the reply for the same question. Thank you students. Thank you.